Visit abaeservices.com for fast medical transcription service. This podcast episode is brought to you by AB Music Creative.
This episode is brought to you by Dr. Lourdes Capulong.
What actually made you guys start to do what you do?
Okay, so the time frame of this was in the late 80s, early 90s. We were very, very young. We're still maybe 16, 17. But there were guys that mentored us that were in their 30s, 40s, and they were running the scene. And so these were the first wave Filipinos that came in. They were living over there in the Rampart area of Los Angeles.
Apartments? Yeah.
Well, not the apartments, but Rampart, like like over there in downtown historic Filipino town.
Yes.
And the only event really for Filipinos was the Bayanihan. Bayanihan was the only restaurant, club type thing that Filipinos had to go to.
Even local celebrities from the Philippines would come to the States and hang out at the Bayanihan.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. And so at that time, in the 80s, my mentor, Jimmy Corpus, he was the one that spearheaded and started Spectrum Productions. And then he was doing, we weren't really allowed to do clubs in Hollywood. Those were reserved for certain ethnicities, and Asians and Filipinos were not really welcome to do these clubs in that time period. And so to create his own scene, to create his own nightclub experience, he would rent ballrooms. He would rent ballrooms right there in Los Angeles, and the most prevalent one that he started was at the Hyatt Hotel, the Hyatt downtown Los Angeles, which is now knocked down. It's a big high rise now, but back at that time, Hyatt nightclub or Hyatt Regency downtown Los Angeles was the spot where 1,000 to 1,200 Filipinos would get together on a Saturday night, and he would have a ballroom, 2 ballrooms, nightclub style with the lighting, everything. I was only a 15, 16-year-old kid being snuck into these parties to see it. And
but were you spinning at the time?
I was just learning how to spin.
Okay.
I was maybe a year or 2 in and just buying records. I'm still, of course, living at home. I grew up in Carson at that time. But long story short, I got to meet him because a friend of mine that I went to church with, she introduced me. And she gave my mixtape to Jimmy and said, "Hey, my friend is just starting. He's really good. Give him a shot." And he listened to my tape. That very next, within that week, he came to my house and he said, "Yo, your tape is really good. I would like to have you mix at one of my clubs." And
how'd you feel when he said that?
I mean, it was because at that time he had the biggest parties. He was doing the biggest events, especially for Filipinos, Asians, and that was a big deal. It's almost equivalent of me being on Los Angeles radio at the time, that kind of opportunity. And so, yeah, I mean, I was really, really young, 16, first time DJing these 21 and over parties, and those were our nightclubs in that time because they were in hotel ballrooms.
How did it feel doing that, knowing full well you were a minor? Did your parents allow you to do this, or did you snuck in?
They allowed me because I went with my older cousins. My older cousins took me. My parents didn't take me, but my older cousins did. So yes.
How long before you giving your friend your mixtape so she could probably chance upon giving it to Jimmy? How long have you been spinning?
Roughly maybe 2 years. 2 years up to that point.
What gear were you using?
Well, I was able to buy one turntable. I was able to secure one turntable. My dad would not outright buy me a whole DJ system at that time because it was very expensive. But yeah, he let me work for it, and I was able to get one turntable.
So one turntable, one mixer.
And then my neighbor, a few doors down, he bought the mixer. And then my other neighbor he bought the other turntables. So the three of us combined,
Right.
we had our basic DJ system, and then we didn't even have speakers at that time. We just had a little boom box that we connected into, and that was our speakers. But
Wow.
yeah, we just learned. We bought the records, practice our craft, continue to get better, and then when the opportunity came up, then we were able to take advantage of that opportunity.
It's not. It's people think spinning is easy. I mean, I've tried it, especially during our era, the 80s. It's not like today. It's digital where you can just press set and it's right there. This one, no. You have to put a tape on it, right?
It's a lot easier now in 2023.
During our
But
time, it's
in the 80s, we were talking vinyl.
vinyl. They really need to put markers on.
You have to have markers. You have to have good needles, because if
Good
the
ne-
needle
yes.
would skip,
Yes.
you know, it wasn't digital to where you just push a button and then it would automatically blend the record. That
Right.
time you had to really use your ears and really feel the beat and mix it. Like mix it just continuously.
Understand the grid on the side of the turntable, how it's
Yes.
how it's moving.